Thank you. And thank you all for joining us for the inaugural eNASCAR iRacing Pro Series Invitational Series race. We are joined now by Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 FedEx Toyota and winner of the Dixie Vodka 150 at the virtual Homestead-Miami Speedway. Denny, did you have a lot of fun out there today?
It was. It's always fun when you win, but regardless, I mean, it was a great event. I mean, for the community, the racing community, the NASCAR drivers to come together and put 20-some drivers on the racetrack with such short notice. You know, everyone's buying up simulation rigs this week and last week, getting ready for the event. And for it all to come together and have a great finish, I think it was definitely a success.
Well, thank you. And we appreciate your time today. And we'll now open it up to questions from the media.
Thank you, Amanda, and thank you, Denny. Congratulations once again. To our phone audience, if you'd like to ask a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. A friendly reminder that if you're joining us today on a speakerphone, please return to your handset prior to pressing star and 1 to be sure that your signal does reach our equipment. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that is star and 1 if you would like to ask a question. We'll hear first from Jenna Fryer at the Associated Press.
Hey, Denny, congratulations on your big win. My first question is, how much did you spend on your simulator?
I don't know. It was I don't know, probably 40, probably in the 40 range. But it has motion and everything in it, which I don't use that often, but it's, you know, it's definitely on the high end for sure.
And you raced barefoot today, is that correct?
Say again?
Did you race barefoot today?
Yes. Yeah, I like feeling the pedals. You know, with shoes, I can't do it. So I always go barefoot.
Okay. And my last question is, you know, there's nothing to do. There's no sports. This whole week on social media, you guys have done a good job of getting fans interested in this event and giving fans something to do today and a little bit of excitement. And I'm wondering just how much of that came into play for you and the other drivers in agreeing to do this and put this event on?
Yeah, you know, the thing is that nobody got together and said, hey, let's all do this. I think everyone just started doing it. And then, you know, iRacing got involved and you know, emailed everyone and said, hey, this is what we're thinking about. NASCAR got involved. Television got involved and said they'd be interested. So I think it all just came together, but no one really talked to the drivers about unifying and participating. It was all free will, and that's what's exciting is that, you know, in the 25 plus full-time Cup guys out there willing to spend their time doing this.
Great. Thank you, Denny.
Thanks, Jenna.
Next, we'll go to Sirius XM Radio in the line of Claire Lang. Please go ahead. Your line is open.
Thank you. Denny, first, can you talk about, you know, NASCAR often doesn't get among sports sort of the kudos of people who know from the inside what it takes to do things, pull things off, you know, windstorms, rainstorms. What does this say about NASCAR? I think it was the second trending Twitter hit today was this. And what does that mean, do you think? What do you think this means in all of it, that NASCAR was able to pull something like this off?
I mean, it was big, and I think at one time it was number 1 trending. So that's really, really big. And you know, this is what, although NASCAR has its struggles at times for the regular fan to go out and simulate a game-winning shot or game-winning pass, like iRacing has given them that platform. And there's no other sport, like NBA players can't go play NBA 2K and put it on TV and make it look like the real thing. You can't go play Madden and make it look like the real thing. There's so much animation, but iRacing's platform, like we really, this is something that really can gain a lot of traction simply because it's as real as it gets. So I'm excited that you know, this was just the first step and hopefully something that builds you know, for years and years to come.
I hope it trended number one, because that was really huge and a lot of people were paying attention to it. And a lot of drivers are talking about this continuing and whether they will continue and buying simulation rigs and whatnot. Some of the drivers were really experienced in this, some were not. And how much time will it take, you think, for professional drivers to catch up if they continue to be involved in this? And, you know, do the rigs make that much of a difference? Like you and I think Chase Elliott have incredible setups. We saw Jimmy Johnson's. How much of a difference does that make?
It doesn't make that big of a difference. I mean, I had literally just a desktop computer in NASCAR 2003, which was the version before iRacing, and just a Logitech wheel, similar to what Ty Majeski had. And it's, you know, the equipment means really, really small. It is like nothing, because, you know, the fast drivers are the fast drivers. I know my driver, Keegan Leahy, in the iRacing Coke iRacing series, has, you know, he's got a seat that he found out of a junkyard. His wheel's nothing special and his computer's nothing special. So, and he's the fastest guy, I think, out there right now. So a lot of it comes with experience. I'm really excited to see how well the drivers that don't do this regularly did today. You know, what I thought my struggle was going to be was that I hadn't done this in 3 years up until a week and a half ago when I got back on it. So it's just, I'm excited that, you know, we kind of got the sport re-energized and get people talking about racing again. And that's all pretty important.
And last thing, FedEx, I assume they will be delighted with the TV time and you winning this race, even though it was virtual. And that's my last question.
Yeah, it's great that, you know, we're able to give some value back to those sponsors that's not on the real racetrack right now, but certainly, you know, when you put yourself in front of a FS1 audience, you're going to get some publicity. So that's always good. And this was just more of a thank you for them. You know, they didn't pay us or anything. They're busy right now, delivering a lot of medical supplies to people that need it. So with the donation that I made and Kevin Harvick back and Fox back, we made a good chunk contribution today.
Thank you for your question, Claire. We'll move next to the Athletic in the line of Jeff Gluck.
Hey, Denny. You know, obviously this is a success, or it seemed like a success. So what do you think the drivers' level of interest is overall in making this, you know, a continuing thing? I mean, obviously it's fine for a few weeks, but like if somebody's like, all right, let's keep doing this for who knows how long. I mean, do you think that your peers would be on board with doing it indefinitely, I guess?
You know, I'm not sure. I mean, you know, I don't think anyone has any plans right now, obviously, you know, with you know, the state of the country right now. So, you know, I think in the immediate future, it can be done. I mean, a month down the road, you know, who knows? But certainly, you know, I think it would be a great thing to keep it going and get people, you know, excited for the real season when it kicks back off in early May. So I don't think you're going to get everyone every week. That's going to be a challenge, but you're also going to have new guys come in. There's certainly probably a lot of Cup guys that didn't participate that saw this and was like, yeah, I need to get back in this. And, you know, Jimmy Johnson, I'm sure, is going to put more time in. Joey Logano, those guys. So it's if you put the time in, you can get, you know, some of the benefits of running up front, and you start to really like it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Jeff. Next, we'll hear from the line of Bob Pockris at Fox Sports. Please go ahead, Bob. Your line is open.
Thank you. Denny, what will you need to see to consider this like a success? I mean, it's just being trending on Twitter and it appearing to be a pretty decent race despite all the cautions, or like what do you want to see maybe the next day as far as either reaction or ratings or what?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a success no matter what. I mean, people are talking about it. If we got 5 new fans that were just sitting at home watching TV today that thought it was exciting and is willing to tune in next week or willing to tune into a NASCAR race or go to a NASCAR race because they got introduced to racing today by iRacing, it's a success. So I don't think you have to there's no number that makes it a success. If you make positive gains in your audience, whether it be one person or 1,000, it's a good thing.
And do you have any sense of kind of what the state of the mood of the industry is as a whole? Just, I mean, obviously this seemed to be a big pick-me-up for fans and everything, but, we're hearing reports of at least some teams going on furloughs and that kind of thing. Do you have any sort of sense of what the mood is in the industry in the whole at a time like this, and maybe what this race did for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it definitely energizes the industry. I mean, I follow, and I'm sure you guys follow, lots of people that are crew guys or crew chiefs or drivers in other series. They're all talking about it right now. So, this is a good time. It's Sunday afternoon. You would normally be watching in and tuning in and watching us at Homestead anyway. And what are we doing? We're talking about a race in Homestead. So I think I think for sure it energizes our industry.
And do you have any sense of what the mood is right now in the industry, just amid everything going on?
I don't, to be honest with you. I mean, most of the race shops have all been shut down. Just kind of waiting on, we have a scheduled next event. Hopefully that stays true. And, all the development pretty much is shut down. There's not much going on there. So, we're just, we're sitting home waiting just like everyone else is. I mean, that's the thing is that, people consider, us immortals or superstars, whatever. Like we're still doing the same things. We're hanging out with our families. We're, staying in at the house, playing board games, whatever it might be, with our kids. So it's just, we're just in a holding pattern right now. Everyone's going through it. So you got to make the best of it.
Thank you.
Next, we'll take a question from the line of Holly Kane with NASCAR Wire Service. Holly, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Thanks. Congratulations, Denny. I wanted to ask you if you could just maybe speak a little bit about today. A lot of people got to see Timmy Hill and Garrett Smithley and some, real attention put on some of those guys. If you could just kind of talk about this even playing field and the opportunity maybe for a couple of guys to get some attention.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think it's good. And like I say, I think that, guys with experience are going to shine, especially early on in this type of racing. You wouldn't believe how many hours I spent trying to find 400ths of a second for qualifying for the last week, and so I think that, people that have experience and know all the tricks and know all the things you do to get speed out of the car, they're going to shine right now for sure. But certainly I think it's great for those guys who normally you would not see up front. I thought that for sure they were one of the top 5 favorites going in, along with William and myself, and Dale Jr. was really fast through the week. So I think that the guys who you expected to be up front, they were up front, and it's who we had to beat for the win. So it's great that those guys were able to participate, and not only participate, but challenge for the win. And normally on a normal week, they're thinking, well, how can I run 30th, right? So it's just a different beast when everything's all up and out.
Thank you. And lastly, I just wanted to ask you, were you surprised by anyone today, either on the good side or the bad side, on how things went?
I actually would say that Bubba Wallace probably surprised me the most. I thought, he struggled through the week in practice, finding speed and whatnot, but I thought he actually raced really well. So he's a guy that, to me, that stood out as someone that was relatively new, but did a really good job racing. And so I think he got a pretty good finish out of it as well. So he to me was the most impressive newcomer so far.
Thanks, Denny.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we'll move directly to Dustin Long with NBC Sports.
Thank you. Denny, a couple questions. Since you were competing, obviously you're focused and busy on other things. When you go back and look over this, what are you going to be intrigued to see, whether you go back and look at the race or go back and look at social media or anything else from this event?
Yeah, I mean, all of it. All of it. I mean, first thing I did, I got out of the rig and I came and watched the last 6 laps to kind of see, what was going on. I can't see everything when I'm sitting in the car, but certainly I was intrigued to see the last 6 laps and see what it looked like on TV. So I thought it looked great. My first reaction 10 seconds into watching it, it was like, I asked some people around me, I was like, do you believe this is not real? Like it looks so real. So that part was really cool. And, I want to go back and look at how, Fox broadcasted it. I'm sure they're going to have a discussion if they do it again, like, what can we improve on? How can we make the races more clean? I think that comes with experience. I hosted 5 short races last night and invited all the guys to come race to make sure we knew how to race around each other to keep it as green as we could. But ultimately, when you get in a competition, wrecks happen. And, the way they currently had it set to where, the cautions would come out automatically, even if it was a small incident. So I think letting it go green a little bit more would be good. But certainly, I think it was overall success. I mean, I watched the end, like I said, just the last 6 laps, and I thought the call was good. The interviews and all worked good in the end. And it looked like a normal race to me.
I also want to ask you, you referenced, you noted that the NBA players can't go play NBA 2K or any other sports can't go play their sports to look as authentic as this does. Obviously, you want to be able to be back racing in May, but how does this become bigger and better, and how does this move forward from this point on? Because this is a space that NASCAR apparently can have more of an impact on than maybe other sports at this time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, it certainly keeps our sport relevant if we can keep it going. I think that a lot of that's going to fall on the shoulder of the drivers. I think as long as you have drivers willing to participate, you're going to have a product that people are going to want to see. So I think that, if you get that first step, then most likely you can keep this thing going. Because ultimately, people out there, the fans, want to see their favorite driver, and they don't care if they're racing virtually or in the real world. They want to see their favorite driver win. So, I'm just looking through my social media, and all the same people that congratulate me on TV on the normal Sunday have tweeted me again today. So it's, I think it keeps people excited about our sport, and hopefully we can keep it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for your question. We'll move directly to Jacob Steelman at Speed Sport.
Yeah, thank you. Denny, first off, congratulations. I'm glad you mentioned NASCAR Racing 2003 a little bit ago, because you and Dale Jr. are 2 that have probably been around the longest when it comes to esports and sim racing. Does that make it somewhat appropriate that you 2 were the 2 coming out of the last corner battling for the win at the end?
Yeah, I didn't actually think of it that way. I think of guys like Timmy Hill and Smithley that run iRacing regularly, and think that, well, they got more experience. But that is true. That certainly it's going to be hard to find anyone in the field that has more or dates or experience dates back further than me and Dale Jr. He was, you've seen the story. He's talked about it many times that, he actually saw me for the first time on NASCAR Racing 2003, which is kind of now iRacing, and thought I was good and invited me down to Daytona in 2004 to come stay with him for the weekend, because I was just, somebody he was interested in meeting. And I was going through my late model career at the time. He ended up winning the Daytona 500, which is a cool experience for me. I'm down there that same weekend signing my contract with Joe Gibbs Racing as the development driver. And the rest is history. That's what we did. He had a league called the DMP League that me and, 25 of the guys raced every single week. And we just kind of took it from there. So it's great that, now I think about it, and you said it, it was me and Dale Jr. at the end.
to follow up on that too, really quickly, how has it changed from when you guys started, back the end of the 2003 era, the start of the iRacing era? How have you seen it change from then to what we witnessed this afternoon?
Well, back then there was about 4 really, really fast drivers. And now there's hundreds of really, really fast drivers. And so, like, I logged on and just kind of over the last week racing some pickup races, which is, you're out there with the general public, guys that, it's open races for whoever, and they put you in different splits based off of, your I rating. And, like, I'm running like 5th, 5th to 7th. And that was kind of my finishing position. And normally, back in the heyday, when there was only, I don't know, maybe 2,000 people that did it, I knew that I could just go anywhere and just win. And so now, I don't know, there's definitely over 100,000 iRacing members. There's so much competition, and everyone is so fast because everyone knows all the little things you have to do to be fast. And so that's what makes it harder to win now than what it did back then.
Thanks again, Denny. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Next, we'll hear from the line of Zach Sterniolo with Pocono Record.
Denny, you talking about NASCAR Racing 2003. When you swept Pocono your rookie year, you credited a lot of the success you had there immediately to that, to your experience through that game. Once you got to the Cup Series, how did sim racing really kind of inform how you approach these races?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your whole thing. You cut off, but repeat your question.
Sorry, just once you got to the Cup Series and you swept Pocono, I know you credited NASCAR Racing 2003 a lot to that. So was there anything that you took from sim racing that really informed how you approached the real world?
Yes. Yeah, there is. I mean, there's still the way that I qualify, like on mile and a half, is a technique I learned through iRacing. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I take that to the real world. I think it works. I'm not the best qualifier in the world, but I think I've got my fair share of poles, simply because it's all about how do you keep the momentum going, especially in today's world where you got the 550 horsepower package on these big tracks. Like, it drives so similar to iRacing. So you have to keep momentum up. You don't use a whole lot of brake. There's a lot of things that you have to do to, keep your run going. And so I learned that from iRacing. So there's certainly, Pocono was a big help to me. I basically didn't know anything about Pocono. I went and got on, NASCAR Racing 2003 and started running Pocono, and I saw billboards, and I was like, all right, well, this is my let-off point. And when I got out there in the real world, I saw the same billboards. I saw the same caution lights in the same place. And so it just helped me be familiar with my surroundings, even though I was there for the first time.
Benny.
Denny, again, thank you for taking time out of your day today. We'll take our next question from Andrew Kurland with NASCAR Youth Digital. Please go ahead. Your line is open, Andy.
Congrats, Denny. The whole racing world and just the whole world in general hasn't had a whole lot to do the past couple of weeks, especially with people staying in and having to stay inside. Besides prepping for this race, what have you done to just pass the time since there really hasn't been a whole lot to do?
Just hanging out with the kids. I mean, there's not been a whole lot to do. I kind of just started heating up the pool, and the weather's starting to kind of turn here, and in Charlotte, it's getting better, and certainly feel like it's time to kind of get out of the house. We went on a boat ride yesterday, so really not a whole lot, to be honest with you. It's just kind of been obeying, what our president's been telling us, to stay in and try to stay local, stay the course, and try to get through this. And so the quicker we all do that, I think the quicker we get through it, and we get back to normal life.
Thank you, Denny. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear a question from the line of Zach Albert with NASCAR.com. Please go ahead.
Hey, Denny, I just wanted to check and see, is this the first time that you've had to deal with an exploding Coke bottle mid-race? And you just have a word with your pit crew after this to kind of square them away on how best to deliver those in the future?
Yeah, definitely. My extra man / child over the wall that was supposed to hand me my drink and get a tear off gave me a shaken cherry vanilla Coke bottle, which that didn't work too well with electronics. So that was a bit of a problem. We got through it though. Got the hands clean, threw the towel out the window, and I was off.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Zach. We'll move next to a follow-up from Jenna Fryer at the Associated Press.
Hey, Denny, would you pull that same move in a real race to win that you did on Dale Jr.?
Yeah, definitely. I wanted the bottom, and he was really, really smart to. I mean, you know, he didn't win, but he was smart to kind of block the bottom there, because the bottom lane at Homestead on iRacing just has tremendous more grip than what the lane I was running in. But I knew that the difference in the two lanes was about, you know, 1/10 to 2/10, and I thought my tires were about 3/10 better. So I thought as long as I got beside him, I was going to be able to complete it, even though he was in the preferred groove. So it was a risky call. I mean, I don't know what we were, 18 laps to go or so, and we decided to pit from third, and I didn't see anyone really coming behind me. So I was nervous. I just restarting where I was, I thought I was going to get a wreck or not make it back up there, but certainly would have done it the same exact way in real life.
Great. Thanks, Denny.
Thanks.
And once again, Denny, you're a great sport. Congratulations today. Amanda, I'll turn it back to you. We have no further questions from our phone audience.
Thank you. Thank you